Hello and welcome to the Ram Show. It is Sunday, March 4th, 2018. Why do I keep wanting to say 2018? Okay, so I don't know if you've, by the way, hi Zach, how's it going?
Fine.
So I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but it takes 21 days to either make or break a habit. Have you ever heard that before?
I've heard that.
Uh, so we're way past 21 days into the new year, so I shouldn't be saying 2017 anymore. I shouldn't even be thinking it. I should be thinking 2018. I don't know why I keep doing that, but anyway, I'll turn you up a little bit. I don't know if it's just because my headphones are turned down, like if I don't have the volume where I normally do, or if you're just quiet this week. I can't tell.
Mm,
Okay,
well,
maybe.
nothing's changed, so I
Oh,
don't
okay,
know.
there we go. There we go. If anything, I'm usually a little bit quieter than you are. I need to adjust that next week. Uh, I'm just not in the mood to reach over and adjust it because then I actually have to get up and, yeah. So anyway, so nothing really new happened this week. Nothing interesting. Nothing blew up. So yeah, nothing new with you really, right?
Yep.
So anyway, you know what? With that being said, we're gonna get right into things for this week then. With Apple stuff here. So Apple has confirmed, get this, that it uses Google's public cloud to store data for its iCloud services.
Uh, good
Like,
job, guys. Can they really not afford their own server?
okay, so I don't know what exactly it is that is being stored on the Google Cloud Services portion of it. But yeah, so are they does Apple just have a giant giant Google account that they're like, oh hey, we need to put this here. And then have it linked in somehow. I don't exactly know what it is that they're storing, but I just thought when I saw this, I was like, wait, hang on. Apple is using Google services to host their own stuff.
Yeah, that does seem kind of
Like
silly.
to like Oh, it gets even better. It gets even better, but we'll get into that in just a moment. So yeah, so it's using Google's public cloud to store data for its iCloud services in its latest version of the iOS security guide uh, last month. So they confirmed that in the security guide last month. Yeah, okay. Which was spotted by CNBC. Now, reports that Apple relied on Google's cloud services surfaced in 2016, actually, uh, but were previously never confirmed. So now Apple has confirmed that they do it. But Apple has also previously used remote data storage systems provided by Amazon Web Services. Okay, I can see that one because a lot of places lease space from Amazon. I think Airbnb, Uber, I think they have
A lot of people leave space
storages
from
and
Amazon.
yeah, have storage on Amazon and things like that. So that one's not that interesting. This one or I don't want to say controversial. I want to say juicy. This one though, they've also used Microsoft Azure cloud storage as well. So now what Apple has done is they have basically used. I'm gonna give them a pass on using Amazon's you know
I
space.
mean, it's not like there's anything wrong with them using Google.
No, it's just
I mean,
interesting.
it's
You would.
fine, right? Like, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just funny because they're using their competitor's service, I guess.
Exactly. We had a story last week too. Remember where Apple was mad at Google because they pointed out a bug. Do you,
Oh
do
yeah.
you remember that?
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Oh man, that was funny. Oh, sorry everyone. Rip ears probably.
Mhm.
Um, I in an attempt to pull up a different scene in the preview monitor, I hit the wrong keys and made the little Windows chirp noise. which is really loud for anyone listening with headphones. So yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear anything.
I know you can't hear it. I need to figure out, like, I wish there was a way that I could pipe the audio of me and you, like, me and the computer sound back to you without you hearing yourself. So it would require me to, like, set up, like, some kind of mix minus thing, which I probably
It would be way too much work, and it would...
Well, but see, here's the thing. If I did that...
Pretty much nothing.
Well, okay, but if we did that, then we could invite other people onto the show.
Oh.
Which would be kind of interesting. Like, let's say we wanted to have, like, a guest host or whatever, besides the two of us, where, like, you would be able to hear that person, they'd be able to hear you, you both be able to hear me, and any audio that's coming through on the computer. But that's going to require, like, you know, mix minuses and other things like that to be set up. So, anyway. So Apple has previously used services from Amazon, which I'm giving them a pass on, and then Microsoft as well, which, like, okay, Apple and Google are competitors, but, like, I don't think it gets any more competitive than Apple against Microsoft. Or maybe I'm wrong, but what do you think?
You know, I mean, it doesn't, I guess if you really think about it, it doesn't surprise me too much. I mean, in the tech world, there are often things that are shared, you know, like just look at patents and licensing and stuff between all these companies, and it's just a mess.
Yeah.
You know, X company licensing some technology from Y company for a product that they have. It's all over. It's just it's a spider web of licenses and patents and stuff, and you know, and they're constantly suing each other over it too. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure we've talked about Qualcomm a couple times, and I don't think I think we have yet to talk about them without mentioning a lawsuit.
I don't know how much.
There's always some lawsuit that they're involved.
I don't remember how much
we've actually talked about it. It's always something to do with
patents
and stuff, and it's just ridiculous. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, they kind
of... Sorry. I'm, like, half, like, listening to you, half, fixing something. There we go. Hold on.
And I only half know what I'm trying to say.
Well, okay, so I'm looking at myself in the double box that we have set up. I still wish you had a webcam so we could actually see you in it, but anyway.
Oh, come on. I hate that. It adds nothing.
It does not add anything. It adds a visual to what people are hearing besides just having this picture with a, you know, cutout of, like, you know, fake person, basically. So anyway, but in the double box, I have the webcam set up so that my head's not being cut off in like a full like screen version of it. But in the double box, because I have to position where the like graph or where the like video is, I had it like the top portion was like really close to the top of the box, so like my hair and like my head was kind of getting cut off a little bit. Or pretty close to it, so I was adjusting that. Anyway.
Well, I guess what I was trying to say is that...
Oh, yeah, okay, so go ahead.
There are a lot of things that are kind of shared between a lot of these companies, so, I mean, I guess I can't be too surprised that cloud storage is one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not like it's a bad service. It will work. Sure, it works. Obviously it works.
You know, it's funny.
But it is funny. You're not wrong.
Well, so I actually pay for the only storage that I actually pay for like I used to use something called MediaFire. I don't know if you've ever used that before. But it's like online storage for your files.
I've not used it to upload things, but I've downloaded stuff off there.
I've got stuff like sitting in like a MediaFire account. And I did pay for like actual like a decent amount of storage at one point in time, and then I think they changed their plans or whatever, and so I've just let it like basically lapse. Like I didn't pay for it like when it came time for renewal, and I have so little stuff on there that like the free storage space is more than enough for what I need. So the only service that I actually pay for now for actual like storage is iCloud. And I think I have like 50 gigs and it's only like 99 cents a month. So it was pretty cheap. So I was like, yeah, what the heck. And with having like Apple products, it's nice because then I can upload things to the cloud, and like my images are stored there and like they sync and things like that. So that's really the only reason I did it. Once I get rid of like Apple products, which again I'm leaning towards, I probably won't do it anymore. But it's kind of funny because maybe I should just cancel that and start storing things on like Google's cloud service, since Apple's already sort of kind of already doing that.
Hey, it probably won't go very far. Your data.
Yeah, right. Oh, hey, I just need to move to this folder. Instead of, oh, hey, I need to move to this server. Anyway, so the new edition describes its iCloud service. The encrypted chunks of the file are stored without any user identifying information using third-party storage services such as Amazon S3 and Google's cloud platform. Now, the report doesn't clearly state whether Apple uses any Google Cloud services outside of storing photos and videos, nor does it give a start date for when Apple first made the switch. Apple and Google did not immediately respond for comment. So, anyway. So, it sounds like
I suppose Google's probably not going to tell anybody either. That might be problematic for them.
So they're playing nice for now, I think.
Well, they would be an idiot to do that and throw away business.
Yeah. Even if Apple is mad at them right now for, oh, hey, there was a flaw in, was it? No. Was it Apple or was it Microsoft?
It was Microsoft.
It was Microsoft. Never mind. Okay. It was Microsoft. I forgot about that. Speaking of Microsoft, I have to do this real quick. Time for Microsoft news. Let's get into it. So, I don't quite understand Microsoft's marketing idea on this. Well, maybe yes and maybe no. As the story, or as the article says, it has a theory as to why they're doing this, and I can kind of probably see it. And so basically what's going on is that the Windows Phone, like, here's the thing about it. Is it dead or is it not dead? Because I think Microsoft said that it was dead, but get this, now they're selling it in their stores again.
Or are they just selling surplus or what? I don't get it.
Well, Microsoft has started selling Lumia. Is
this a new phone?
Lumia Windows phones at the company's online retail store once again. So no, it sounds like it's something that they were selling and then they stopped, probably when they were like, "Oh, hey, the Windows Phone is dead," and now they're selling them again. But I have a theory as to why.
I don't know why anybody would buy a product with such an uncertain future.
Exactly. I have a theory as to why they're selling them again, though. Any guesses?
Okay, and what is that?
Well, no. Do you have any guesses as to why they would do that?
The only thing on my mind is maybe they had surplus ones, but if it's a new phone, then obviously me. That's not. Huh?
Bingo. That is exactly what the article says too. Is they have this theory that like Microsoft has a surplus of these phones and they're just trying to get rid of them.
I don't know what else they're gonna do with them.
Write them off like, oh well. I mean, the Windows Phone kind of sort of failed. Kind of sort of.
Yeah.
Like some people use them, but like I don't really remember a lot of people having Windows Phones. Do you? So the software giant originally removed its Lumia devices back in June, leaving HP's Elite X3 and Alcatel's Idol 4S as the only choices for Windows Phone fans. Okay, here's the other thing about like Windows phones. They're like off brands that like okay, HP's Elite X3. I've never heard of that phone before. I've heard of Alcatel before, but they kind of make like low grade phones. I feel.
I've not heard of them. Phones. Can't say I know anything.
So yeah, so those are the only choices for Windows phones. Windows latest has now spotted that Microsoft has started selling its Lumia devices again earlier this month. So the Lumia 950 is available for... Now, get this. Okay? So, think about it. It's a platform that is basically considered dead, right? With an uncertain future, as you said, right? Do you want to take any wild guesses as to how much the Lumia 950 is going for? Which is kind of a vague question because you don't really...
I mean, prices of phones are all over the map, really.
All over the map, exactly.
It could be anything from a couple hundred to 1,000 if you know.
Okay,
if
not
we're
1,000.
Talking, like, no contract.
It is
I'm
not.
talking like if there's no contract and you just buy it.
Oh yeah, okay. So it's not 1,000. It is in the triple digits, however, though. If that's
yeah, if it's not, then it's probably a very poor quality.
Well, okay, so they're selling the Lumia 950 for $399, which for I don't know how old the phone is. I don't know what the specs are in it, but purely off the idea that it is a device that or it is running a platform that is basically dead.
That's a no contract price? That's a you can buy it up front and take it home with no phone plan, no nothing?
I don't know, actually. I would
because
imagine
in that
so.
case, well, that's actually a pretty low price compared to a lot of phones out.
Yeah, that's true. I still think it's high for, like, again, a platform that is dying. Again, I haven't looked at any of the specs or anything with it. So, well, let's see here. Okay. So, yep, it is unlocked. It is unlocked. It's got a 5.2 WQHD display, 20 megapixel camera? That's actually not... It's got a 20 megapixel camera in it. It's actually not horrible for a phone.
Well, megapixels in everything.
Yeah, but like when you're talking about like cameras, like the higher the number is, the better it is. I'm not sure where like the iPhone sits right now, but like 20 megapixels, that's getting up there with like some point and shoots, actually.
Hold on, I'm going to step away for like 10 seconds.
Okay. Let's see. I will continue with this. You've also got 32 gigabytes of storage, which is expandable up to 200 gigabytes via micro SD. Okay. So what else is new with like something Apple can't figure out? Anyway. Oh, it's running Windows 10. How appropriate. Right. So what I was saying is you get 32 gigabytes of storage built in.
32 gigs. That's not too bad.
Expandable up to
unless
200.
Unless you're a crazy photographer or you are like a music hoarder or something, you'll probably be fine.
Well, okay, it's expandable up to 200 gigabytes via micro SD, so that's not horrible. Of course,
okay,
it's
is good.
It's running Windows 10 because why not?
There are too many phones these days that don't have micro SD card slots, and it's just stupid. It's like they just want you to buy the bigger size or something. Like, I'm sure that's exactly what they want.
Okay, so this
it's just ridiculous that you can't include such a basic.
Right. This actually must be a fairly newish phone because it comes with a a USB-C cable in the box.
Ah, really? Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
This can't be too old then. You're right.
So as I'm looking at it with like the specs and things like that, Qualcomm Snapdragon 808. I have no idea what that actually means because I don't know anything about Qualcomm processors.
It's been way too long since I knew anything about.
3 gigabytes of RAM.
Last time I ever looked any of that stuff up was when I was getting my new phone, and I haven't had a new phone in like 4 years.
3 gigabytes of RAM. So I don't know if is that good for a phone or not.
I mean, it's not fantastic, but it's not awful. I mean, my 4-year-old phone's got 2.
Okay.
Like, it'll do the trick. It'll be fine.
Let's see here. So 20 megapixel autofocus camera with 2-stage capture. I don't know what that means, but I'm actually, again, I'm surprised by the quality of the camera on it. which I'm sure was probably like one of the bigger selling points of this phone, because 20 megapixels is actually pretty high. I wonder, actually, let's see here, iPhone X, because I'm not quite sure what the tech specs are on the iPhone X. Because Apple has been known to have really, really good cameras in their phones. Let's see here, camera. Oh, get this. Okay, so the camera in the Windows Phone is a 20 megapixel camera. Guess what the camera in the iPhone is?
I'm gonna guess it's a little bit lower, because
it's quite
generally
a bit lower.
They are a little bit lower.
It's quite a bit lower, actually.
12?
Yeah, it's 12
I'm gonna
megapixels.
guess 12.
12 megapixels.
That's not based on anything. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, so 12 megapixels. So you're going from 20 megapixels to 12 megapixels. Now whether the Windows Phone? What do you mean?
What is the iPhone? You're asking me what the iPhone is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you got it right.
Okay.
It's 12 megapixels.
Is it really 12?
Yeah, you got it right.
What the heck? It's just a guess.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Awesome.
That's why I was like,
I didn't even look it up.
I know. I was like, did you look it up?
I didn't look it up.
Anyway, I can't prove that you didn't look it up, because
why would I look it up?
I also can't prove that you did, though. This is the other thing. If you had like a webcam, then I could actually like see. Like if you
couldn't see if I'm. You
well,
couldn't
that's
see
actually
on my
true.
Screen, though, so.
That's actually true. Yeah. But like, anyway. Now whether the Windows Phone actually does 4K or not, I don't know if it actually does. But anyway. So no, I'm actually okay. I'm looking at like actually the specs on this now. For that price with an unlocked phone, the 400 actually probably isn't all that bad. If you're really
it's not all that bad if you're not bent on having any long-term support for it, I suppose.
Yeah. They also have a 950 XL, which is going to have a 5.7 inch display. Still comes with a 20 megapixel camera. That one is unlocked. That one's going to set you back about $500. There's a Lumia 650, which is $199, and a Lumia 550 for $139. What do you get for the $159 price point? Curious, actually. A 4.7 inch HD display and a 5 megapixel camera. So you're stepping down quite a bit. 8 gigabytes of storage, but expandable up to 200 with a micro SD. So interesting. Let's see here. So Microsoft did actually finally admit that Windows Phone is dead. They admitted that back in December. Or, October. But the company's transparency around the death of the mobile operating system has been rather confusing at times. I agree. Is it dead or is it not dead? You guys say it's dead, but now you're releasing this phone again.
That does lend some credibility to the surplus theory.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. And again, this is the exact same reason why I'm thinking that Apple has a surplus of Apple Watch 1s, like Apple Watch Series 1s. Because why would it make sense to sell an older generation product? Not to mention, how many times have we heard, don't buy the first generation? Guilty.
Well, that doesn't really apply so much in this case, because by now, if there were any serious problems with it, and maybe there are, you can go and look it up and find out.
Actually, there is. It runs Windows 10.
I think. Oh wait, no, I was talking more about the Apple Watch.
Oh, okay. No, I thought we were still talking about
that one.
Phone.
Well, fine, because you can just go and look it up and see if there's any problems that it has.
Right.
But if you just bought it on day one and it's a first generation product, that might not be a wise decision.
Yeah, exactly. No, I thought we were still talking about the phone. I was like, yeah, there is one major issue. It runs Windows 10.
That is a major issue. You're right.
Oh man. Oh, my phone is double tracking me now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you got like the location services and things like that, and then you have all the telemetry data.
Oh, my favorite.
Uh, I wonder if you could install like Spybot anti beacon on it. You
Oh,
probably can't. I don't think it runs like
they probably have it locked down. Also, yeah, that's an x86 program. So
yeah, I don't
that's,
think it runs x86 programs. I could be wrong. I don't know anything about the Windows Phone, but
I highly doubt it does.
I highly doubt it too. I'm sure it's like some kind of slimmed down version of Windows to make it lighter, so it actually runs like on like a mobile platform. So anyway, so it's likely that Microsoft still has some stock of these devices that it needs to clear. So there we go. Which I would probably agree, and it sounds like you agree with that as well.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Curious to know if that's not the answer, then what is the answer?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they're trying to relaunch it. Which, how many times have we seen Microsoft like fail on a product and then try to relaunch it again?
How many times have we seen them try to relaunch Windows phones?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, and then with the whole Windows 10s thing, where we tried to do like netbooks and stuff like that, or what was it?
It was basically just half a Windows 10. Also, you think you're getting at Chromebooks?
Well, no. I was talking about the idea. Like, oh yeah, they launched devices with ARM processors, and it failed. And then they were like, oh, now we've got Windows 10s, and we're gonna try it again. Just not with ARM processors, but it's still kind of the same idea. Because it totally worked the first time. Like,
Real well.
Microsoft is kind of like that friend who like always makes dumb decisions and never learns from their mistakes. Would you agree?
Well, they have enough money to not really care, I suppose.
That's probably true, but anyway. Oh man. Like, it gives us something entertaining to talk about every week, so
Sure.
What did Microsoft try to relaunch this week?
Oh man, like every few years I just see a new something about a Windows phone. It's just like, okay, great, again.
Yeah.
Windows phones again. Okay.
I will say I have experienced a Windows Phone a little bit. Back when I was working at Dollar General, we used to have, oh my gosh, what did they call it? It was like, I think it was called the HHT, but it was like a handheld terminal, and basically it was one of those, it ran like some kind of Windows embedded, like operating system basically on like a scanner kind of looking device. Yeah, it was interesting. It was really, really slow, I remember. And then they replaced these things with Windows phones. So like use the camera as like a scanner, so you could scan products and like figure out where they were supposed to go in the store and things like that. So I know Target used I think they still do, but they use iPods with like a special case that
They use what?
They use iPods.
Oh, what the heck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, so if you go
odd.
well, like, do you remember like going into stores like when you were young and like they'd have like these honking like scanner looking devices?
Price gun?
Yeah, like the price guns.
The price gun.
Yeah, exactly. So the price gun
I've still seen those.
Yeah. So a lot of companies now like Target like replaced pretty much all of those with iPods now, and then they have like a special case that they go in that has like a scanner like thing on it. Weird. Basically. Yeah, they're kind of cool. I actually worked at Target for a little bit. The compatibility with the scanner was kind of iffy, where you'd like actually have to like turn the whole entire thing off and then turn it back on, like multiple times. Not like multiple times to get it to work, but like multiple times a day, basically, because it would just like freeze up and it wouldn't work. Like the app still worked; it was just the scanner interacting with the. So I don't know if it was like the actual like case itself, or if it was like a bug between like the app and the scanner. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, it was interesting. So
who knows?
Yeah. It was kind of cool though, because then you didn't have to carry around this like huge, heavy, what was it? This huge, heavy price gun. Oh, and then the other problem is it like ran on like a separate network that would like constantly go down, so then all the iPods wouldn't work, so we couldn't scan things.
No.
Yeah. So I remember one day where like those went down, but like the large price guns still worked. So
that actually doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
The fact that the price guns still work.
Anyway, because I don't know if they like ran on a different network or something like that, but yeah. So if you were like on the floor and you were like assigned to basically like put stuff away, because like they'd have like I would imagine like the point of sale system had some kind of way of figuring out what people are buying, and then when it hit certain like like a certain level, like, oh, we've sold so many of these and we had so many of them on the floor, it would tell people in the back, like it would put together, I think it was like a pick list or something like that, but basically it would be like, here, you need to put these things on a cart, and so they'd like go through the back and like pick these things out, and then they'd have other people who were actually assigned to be like on the floor and like put the stuff out and stuff like that. So but the way that worked though was actually kind of cool, because you'd like scan something and then it would tell you what department it was supposed to be in. It would tell you what aisle it was supposed to be in, because every aisle was labeled, and then it would tell you how many shelves over, how many shelves up or whatever, and then how many spots over you were supposed to go. So it was actually a pretty decent system, versus like when I worked at Dollar General, where it was just like, here, this goes on this certain planogram kind of wherever on this shelf. So it would like tell you the planogram, and then it would tell you how many shelves up or down it was supposed to go, but that was about it. So I basically had to learn where everything was in my store. So
that sounds irritating.
Yeah. On the plus side, now every time I go in there, though, I know where things are. For the most
Fair
part.
enough.
All right, so let's talk about internet speeds real quick here.
I love talking about those.
This is in Australia right now, okay? So the Australian government is considering a bill that would make it illegal for ISPs to falsely advertise high internet speeds.
Why is that not illegal already?
Well,
honestly,
think about it in America, right? Okay, you could probably apply this concept to anywhere, but especially in America, where money kind of drives a lot of things. So like big corporations are like, ooh, money, not loyalty to customers.
Well, yeah.
Okay. That is like generalizing really, really badly, because not every company does that. But in the case of giant ISPs, yeah.
Unfortunately, most ISPs do.
Yeah, exactly. So under the proposed legislation, lying about internet speeds would become a finable offense that could cost ISPs that violate the law up to 1 million Australian dollars. AUD, yeah, like so Australian dollars.
I hope they do this because, set an example, I suppose.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be anything that'll catch on in the United States. Unfortunately.
I'm sure Comcast and Friends would throw a fit if it
did. Comcast and Friends.
They would have a little temper tantrum.
Yeah. So Andrew Wilkie, who's a member of Parliament who introduced the bill this week, told Motherboard people are getting worse than dial-up speeds when they've been promised a whizzing bang super fast connection. He described one person complaining to him that they were charged for a 25 megabit per second download speed and a 5 megabit per second upload speed, but they were getting less than 1/10 of that.
See, that is ridiculous. Like, I know that we complain, but we don't have it that bad here.
We do not have it that bad here. But okay, you know what? I'm curious right now, right? Okay, so I have a local co-op, as I've mentioned many times before. I have a local co-op that we get our internet through. So our internet service provider is a local co-op. You get your internet through Mediacom.
Yep.
So here's what I want you to do, right? Well, actually, no. Okay, you don't.
I hope they go bankrupt, by the way.
Actually, we can't do that, but you can do this. I'm curious to see. Do this for me right now. Run a speed test. I believe because you're at the campus right now, but the campus is supposed to get at least a gig down.
That's the campus doesn't have Mediacom.
No, the campus doesn't have Mediacom. And you know what? And as I think about it, this is not going to be fair for you to do it on premise.
They have good internet.
Yeah, they do actually. Because I don't think the campus actually goes through. I think they kind of go through like some kind of co-op thing too. Actually,
ICN.
Yeah, ICN.
Huh?
No, that's what I was saying. ICN, which is like the Iowa Communications Network or something like that. So I think it is kind of somewhat like a co-op-ish kind of thing. I'm not quite sure. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, what I was going to say is I wanted you to run a speed test.
I don't know anything about it.
But
I already know the result. The result will be 20 down, 20 up because it is throttled per device.
Yep, exactly. And that's why I was like, that's unfair because you're throttled at the campus.
Yeah. Which is dumb, by the way. Just going to say that.
Well, you got to have enough bandwidth to support everyone on campus.
Huh?
You have to have enough bandwidth to support everyone on campus with all their devices hitting the network.
Well, if it were not throttled, that's not to say that everyone would have several gigabits. It would probably, I bet everyone would have more. Everyone would probably experience a bit of a speed.
So let's see here, internet. So pulling up. So what we are supposed to get, what I am supposed to get through my ISP, 50 down, 25 up. Now I am doing this on my phone, but I have a pretty decent router in the house. So the best way, obviously, to do this would be through a wire connection, but for fear that this system is going to crash, I don't want to do that. But just running a speed test on my phone, I got 48.2 down and 22.3 up.
Right.
And that's okay, and I would call that acceptable. Would you call that acceptable for what my speeds are supposed to be and what I'm actually getting? Would you call that acceptable?
Sure.
Okay. Now, let's see. I wanted to see. It's too bad that you're not at home because then we can actually see what Comcast says you're supposed to get versus what you're actually getting. But I think we all know that Mediacom. Excuse me.
The answer is about half, if I remember correctly. About half.
And that's on half. And that's on a wired connection too?
No, I've never. I'd love to have a wired connection, but I don't. I don't have. It's all wireless.
So you don't have. So in
AC,
other words,
so it in theory should support that speed, but it just doesn't.
Okay. All right. And like
it's a terrible network. It's a terrible network.
Okay, so here's my thing real quick with this, right? Is that okay.
But it's only terrible because of that stupid cable box with built-in Wi-Fi that they give to all those stupid customers.
Couldn't you, in theory, disable or do they lock it down?
They lock it down.
Why? Why? Why can you not go in and make any configuration changes to?
Probably because some idiot messed it up and then caused them a problem.
Oh man. Okay.
Well, actually, no. Probably too many idiots were messing it up and had to call for tech support when they messed it up. And
okay, let me ask this question though. In theory,
or something like that. I don't know.
In theory, couldn't you just buy your own modem and router?
Yes, except for the one that the Mediacom one is required for the cable TV box.
Oh.
They'll be glad to sell you an adapter though for $40.
Oh man.
And nobody except me cares. So I am the only one who wishes to have such a thing. Well, I mean, I will put up with it when I graduate. I will put up with it, and I will get out. I will get out. I will get out of here. Go somewhere where there's good internet.
Yeah, exactly. Move somewhere where there's good internet. You know what?
Move somewhere there's a job and good internet.
You know what? Okay, theoretically, if you could find a job around this area, you could just live in Clear Lake and have great internet from Seattle.
You know, that wouldn't be too bad.
You could get up to a gig down and 500 up.
No, don't even go there, okay? When I get there, if it actually happens, great. I'm sure it won't happen. But
Anyway, no, it'd be great to still have you in the area. Anyway, we'll that's a conversation for another time. But anyway, so the proposed law would order ISPs to become more transparent about its internet speeds and list typical speeds experienced by the average user, periods when internet traffic tends to be higher, and any other factors that could affect service. Last November, the United Kingdom also added more advertising regulation, forcing broadband providers to list average speeds instead of top speeds. Why can't we start doing this in America?
Because, as I said before, I'm sure Comcast and their pals would have a temper tantrum.
You know what? Okay, so, I know I'm, on the, I wouldn't necessarily say 1%, but, okay. The, 1% of people in the United States that aren't going through a major ISP company. I'm sure that number is a little bit different. But anyway, so when I see things like this, it irritates me, but at the same time, it's kind of whatever. I actually have good internet.
Yeah, but if it were taken away from you, I bet you'd care.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
So you should still care because then that would eliminate the possibility of it being taken away from you.
That is true. That is true.
It would not eliminate the possibility of it being taken away from you, but if some big horrible monster ISP moved in, kicked out your friendly well, at least they wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
To falsely advertise.
You know what? Final thoughts on this real quick. Let me finish the article. So the problem remains in the U.S., where consumers routinely experience falsely advertised internet speeds. Now, last February, New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman sued Spectrum for misleading customers by advertising speeds that it allegedly knew it was unable to provide. Yes! I love this!
Okay, actually, here's something for you. What happens if they advertise a speed and then cannot provide it, but what if it's a mistake? What if they truly believed that they could? Or, better yet, and probably more realistically, who says that they can't just advertise whatever they like, and then if they're called out, they can say, well, we had some mistakes, and this and that went wrong, and blah, 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 we're still ramping up the infrastructure, whatever.
Okay, here's what
Who's going to prove that they knowingly did this?
Devil's advocate on this, though, and that is that they should be doing testing, right? That says this is a guaranteed speed. We know that this is a guaranteed speed that you can get.
Okay, I understand. That makes sense.
So playing devil's advocate is that, because it's okay, you thought you could, but you weren't sure. So,
well, in that case, they shouldn't have been advertising it.
You shouldn't have advertised it. Exactly.
Okay, I understand. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So the lawsuit is still ongoing in that case, as the case proceeds to trial this month. The New York Supreme Court rejected Spectrum's motion to dismiss the suit. Yes! So, okay, maybe there is hope in the United States.
I hope. I mean, it's not really a huge change, but, well, okay, in some places it's a huge change where this stuff is rampant. Personally, have not run into ISPs misreporting their speeds, but it's horrible and it shouldn't happen, so good on them for trying to make it illegal. Exactly. But why isn't it illegal already?
Again, it comes down to money for the most part, probably.
Well, everything comes down to money, I suppose.
ISPs are greedy and they like money.
Well, everybody likes money, but you could be less of a scumbag about getting.
Nah. Why do you think net neutrality had to be a thing?
Because the ISPs, they didn't need the rules. They were going to follow them anyway. Oh,
right!
Yeah, your friendly ISP was going to follow the rules anyway. We didn't need those. Get them out.
Here's what I have to say about this, though. And that is that, you know what? Maybe this is what we should look into doing, is figuring out how to write...
Don't say start your own ISP.
No. But I'm sure you could automate this somehow. Writing some kind of software that, like, throughout the day does, like, a speed... does a speed check, basically. And then will, like, give you a report or, like, only alert you when it's not what it's supposed to be. And then, like, if you further that even more, then you could, like, have it set up to, like, contact, like, your internet service provider, basically.
Yeah, but it's not always your ISP. It could just be your network crapping out a little bit.
Well, that could be too. You'd have so you'd have to like figure that out somehow. But basically, I would be that person.
The most reliable way to do it would be to have a device plugged directly into your modem and do it.
Yeah. But I would be the person. Well, you could probably figure out something with a Raspberry Pi. But I would be that person who would, like, let's say I had any other service provider, like internet service provider than what I currently have, because I'm happy with what we have. But, like, let's say I had, like, Comcast or Mediacom or something like that. I would probably routinely do speed checks, and if I wasn't getting the speeds that I was advertised to get, or at least close to them.
You'd yell at them?
Yeah, I would call them and be like, hey, why am I not getting the speeds close to what I'm supposed to be getting? Like,
well, I'm sure the tech on the phone probably doesn't care.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, maybe I would call so much that they finally just... Like, the hope is that they would get annoyed and they'd be like, okay! For anything, like, for more than anything...
Also, I don't know what you would expect them to do about it. Other than maybe give you a discount or
that's
something.
For them to figure out.
And then you'll probably end up on their...
You know what I would probably...
On their list of people they don't really care about keeping as customers.
I'm sure...
Oh, that guy went to Comcast instead of us? Oh, well, we didn't like him anyway.
That's assuming that, like, Comcast is available in my area. So that's the other
I'm
problem.
I'm just saying hypothetically. Oh, he went to some other ISP? Well, we didn't like him.
That is part of the problem, though. Usually you only have one major ISP that you can pick from.
Yep.
So it's kind of like a monopoly.
That guy unsubscribed for whatever reason? Yeah, well, we didn't like...
So it's kind of like a monopoly. Elon Musk, get your internet service, ISP set up soon.
Yeah, I want some of that.
Because it sounds like it's going to be awesome. Or Google Fiber.
It will be.
Or Google Fiber, that would be awesome too.
Google Fiber's kind of stagnated a bit, I think.
I think so too. Yeah. Anyway. But... Like, I'm sure the tech on the phone would probably be like, well, we can't guarantee that you're going to get those speeds. Which I understand. But you should still be getting close to what they're saying.
The tech on the phone probably has nothing to do with it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Although, when I was... what happened with my ex one time... Now, she lived, like, in the middle of nowhere, basically. So they already have really crummy internet anyways. But, like, her father knew that I was, like, techie, and I think he mentioned something about, like, the slow internet speeds or whatever, so we did a speed check, right? And then we compared it to what we were supposed to be getting, or what they were supposed to be getting, and we called the internet service provider, and they actually, like, sent somebody out to, like, try to actually figure out what the problem was. So that was kind of cool. And then I think after they did, like, some reconfiguration stuff, like, it started to work better. But anyway... Again, they lived out in the middle of nowhere, so, what do you expect? So, anyway. All right, keeping in with talk on internet stuff this week, net neutrality. Real quick here. The latest on the battle for net neutrality. So on Tuesday, congressional Democrats delivered on their promise to introduce a resolution to roll back the Federal Communications Commission's repeal of net neutrality rules. So a Democrat, or Democrat, oh goodness, okay, a Democratic senator from Massachusetts led the charge in the Senate to introduce a bill that uses a legislative tool known as the Congressional Review Act, or CRA, to nullify the FCC's December vote to rescind the rules. The net neutrality regulations ensure broadband companies can't block or slow down access to websites or charge companies a fee to access customers online. So, basically what that says is Comcast can't be like, hey, Netflix, if you want, your users to be able to stream their video at, the maximum speed, then you got to pay us. You got to pay us more money for that to happen. Otherwise, we're gonna slow it down because you're competition, and we want people to use our services over yours. So, that's why net neutrality is such an important thing. Anyway, so the CRA gives Congress 60 legislative days in which to roll back the FCC's decision. The countdown for the rollback effort began last week when the FCC published its order in the Federal Register to repeal the rules. Okay, so hang on, let me read that again. So it gives Congress 60 legislative days in which to roll back the FCC's decision. Anyway, okay, so the problem with all of this is, though, because I'll basically give you the TLDR on this, is that even if, this happens to work for repealing this decision to get rid of net neutrality, the problem is that not only does it have to pass in the Senate, it has to pass in the House, and then it has to go up to the president, who, if you remember correctly, was the reason that Ajit Pai was nominated or was appointed as the chairman of the FCC, and we already know where Ajit Pai sits on the whole net neutrality idea. That's the reason we're in this mess already. So the problem with this is it's just kind of like one giant snowball where I feel like we're just going to kind of keep going in circles. So now I think maybe...
Well, doesn't going in circles still kind of block the repeal from going into effect?
Actually, that's probably true.
So I guess there's worse things.
I guess there are worse things. I think okay, it's great that we're trying to do something, but I don't know if see, here's the problem. So, I feel that, really maybe the only way that that something is going to, that net neutrality is going to stick around, I feel like there are two outcomes here. Either A, we just keep blocking it until our current president is out of term, and then hopefully the next president is hey, we're going to reappoint
I sort of doubt
somebody
that
new
will happen.
Yeah, I kind of doubt that it'll happen too. But I feel like that's going to probably be ultimately what's going to happen. Is whoever the next president is, if they deem that net neutrality is important enough, then hopefully they'll figure out some way to, put it back in place. Because right now, I think anything is pretty much going to have to go through the president. And again, we already know where all that's going to lead. Although, see, I didn't pay attention that great in government class. But, isn't there some kind of thing where, the president vetoes a bill, as long as, I think it's either the House or Senate has, 3/4 of the vote or something like that, they can, overrule it, I think? Am I correct in that, or am I not?
Probably.
You obviously weren't paying attention during government class either.
Oh, man. That takes me back. Not that far.
You know what?
But
My government teacher was
notorious for being extremely boring.
Okay, my government teacher was awesome. She had I don't know what it was about her. She was just a great teacher, but she had a way of taking something that was boring and actually making it interesting and making us want to actually learn it. As you can tell, though, I didn't pay that well attention.
I mean, honestly, the class was really easy. I think I took that junior year.
Did you? Anyway,
But,
so
yeah, it was notoriously boring and easy. That's about it. That's all I remember.
So basically, the TLDR on this, though, is that they're trying to use this to try to repeal or to like reverse the FCC's decision. Again, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to work, and I think that's where we're kind of stuck right now.
Probably right.
I think we're going to be stuck in this kind of snowball effect right now, where it's basically going to be. I think it's just going to. And I think that's kind of what's happening is we're just trying to block it right now. So here's
I hope
my
they
thing.
can manage it.
I think there are two outcomes to this that could basically block the FCC's decision. Either A, some kind of lawsuit that deems that it's like somehow unconstitutional, or hopefully, when the election cycle comes up again, hopefully whoever becomes our next president decides that, hey, this is actually something that's important, we should keep it, and then hopefully legislation, works at, creates some kind of bill that like puts some kind of rollback in place or something. That's really the only outcome I see right now, though. With the current president and stuff like that, I don't necessarily see anything happening. I don't know. Yeah. It's a mess right now, but as long as, we keep finding ways to, kind of prevent the rules from going into place, I'm okay with that for now. It's not going to work forever.
Keep the rules in place.
Well, see, because the FCC decided that they were going to go through with this, right? To roll back net neutrality. But the rules haven't completely got into place that actually allow, the rules to expire. At least I don't think yet. Because of all the lawsuits and, other things that are going around, basically. So, I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what's happening right now. So, anyway. It's not going to work forever, but if it's working for now, I'm okay with that. On a side note, though, I have contacted my ISP. How trustworthy they actually are, I would like to believe that they're trustworthy, but from the co-op standpoint and small business standpoint, they say that they don't intend to change anything, which I feel is a smart decision because there are people in my area that actually do use Mediacom services and probably CenturyLink services as well. And so if
no idea why ISPs, anyone would willingly do such a thing, but all right.
Yeah, it's probably cheaper.
Cheaper? Probably isn't cheaper.
I'm not quite sure, actually. Anyway, so with that being said, if, net neutrality rules actually do end up, going into effect, or, the repeal ends up going into effect, right? ISP companies start doing these shady things, and CLTEL is still like, hey, we're not going to do anything, we're just going to leave everything the way it was, then I feel like it's a great opportunity for them to pick up some of those other, potential customers. Or like, I'm fed up with this. I want a different, I don't want to have these restrictions and things like that. So, anyway. Let's see. Anything else real quick before we end the show for this week?
Nah.
Oh, wait. Hang on. Rapid fire real quick. A new group led by Delta, GoGo, and Sprint. They want to bring broadband to the skies. Which, I'm okay with this. So I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. But the idea is still in the early stages. But that's kind of cool. So that'll be something interesting.
I don't fly enough to care.
Yeah, I don't either.
Really? In fact, I don't almost never do.
Apple has a new patent for an OLED screen that's going to act as a keyboard for the MacBooks. So that'll be interesting.
Oh no. Reminds me of that Surface keyboard that was like a cover and it would fold out and it was just a flat little thing, I guess. I don't know. But it like when you press the keys, they don't depress, which is
oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Led to a not very good experience.
Yeah, they're like
they're
like
wrong.
soft touch, kind of like cloth-ish material.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it didn't depress at all. It would you just tap it.
Yeah, I remember I remember using that.
I think I tried one of those out at like Best Buy or something.
Yeah, I remember doing that too. Yeah, I remember doing that too.
I thought it kind of sucked. I didn't like it. I would not have used that. They had another one though that was like an actual keyboard with buttons that depress down. That that's fine, sure.
Nope. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think I remember doing like the thing at Best Buy too, like where I tried it. I didn't like hate it, and it would probably take some getting used to, but like, I was kind of over it already. It's like it's just weird. It's like this does not feel right. The key should depress. Like that's like my indication that like it was registered. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're so used to like you hit a key and that's like mentally it's just like okay it the key went down, it registered that I hit that key. So I've also tried out Apple's new the butterfly switches. You don't touch Apple products, so I bet you haven't actually like tried it out. There's just I don't know how I feel about them. I don't like them. It probably takes some getting used to, but they don't like depress that far. I just don't like the travel on them either. So, anyway, that and the fact that I use a mechanical keyboard now, like, why do you do this to me, Zach? You get me hooked on these products, right? And then I have to go back to like
the mechanical keyboard. Well, sorry, it's better.
I know.
I guess.
I know.
Sorry for showing you something better.
No. What I'm saying is you get me hooked on things like SSDs and like mechanical keyboards, right? Which are awesome. And then I go back to work and I have to deal with work and school and I have to deal with
squishy keyboards.
Yeah, exactly.
I call those squishy keyboards. I hate them.
I think you call them mushy keyboards.
Same thing, I suppose.
Anyway, so yeah. It would be expensive, but like, oh my gosh, submit an expense report, what is this expense report for? Why did we buy all these new keyboards? Why are they $100?
They don't have to be that expensive. Now there are cheaper ones, way cheaper.
That is true if you don't have all the RGB and stuff like that. I would love to have mechanical keyboards up in Master Control though. That'd be awesome.
Bring one.
I'd probably get yelled at from like our chief master operator, like master control operator. He does not like change. I'll tell you a funny story real quick.
No,
and then we'll
unfortunate.
I think he just likes to feel like he has control, and stuff like that.
Sounds like you don't like him.
What do you mean? It's not that I don't like him. Like he's great. It's just that like. Yeah, I don't want to get into it. Let's not get into it. But that does not boast well. Anyway, what I will say is that sometimes we don't always see eye to eye, but I think you're gonna have that with anyone. So, and that's where I'm gonna leave that. So, before I dig myself into a hole. Anyway. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something now I don't remember. So, yeah. But no, it'd be no. You know what? I'm not gonna say anything more. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Before, like I said, I dig myself into a hole. So anyway, with that being said. I am going to go ahead and end this episode of the Ram Show. Thank you so much for joining us. By the way, if you missed the show, you want to listen to it later, we will be putting it up on iTunes. We have a podcast up there. Go check it out. Search for The Ram Show or Tech Beam. And if you like the show, get subscribed. Hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, thumbs down. Leave your comments down below. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye.